I'm not gonna sugarcoat this one. This may have been the worst Survivor episode of all time. I'm gonna do my very best to not make this entire video a complete rant. However, there's no steering away from the fact that this was a very negative episode of Survivor with some very tough moments to watch. And I'm not talking tough in the sense that people got personal and took things a little too far. I'm talking about how the production team took it way too far this time. Don't worry, we're gonna be diving into the very controversial twist at the end of the video, so make sure to stay watching so you don't miss it. This episode sets up a bunch of things that'll pay off in future episodes, especially the major cliffhanger at the end. Can it all be redeemed with a major payoff next week? 100% yes. But if next week's episode is not 10 out of 10, then that's gonna make this week's episode feel even worse. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything Survivor, as I'll be doing Survivor breakdown videos all season long, as well as delivering other Survivor content. Careful for spoilers for everything during the episode if you haven't seen it yet, and I'll number all these things as we go through them to stay organized. Starting with the Uwa tribe voting out Genie.
Genie, the tribe has spoken.
Number 20. Ricardo and Shan head back to camp after voting Genie out of the game. And with all the complaining and negative comments I have about this episode, it honestly starts off insanely strong, as I love the brother-sister dynamic that these two both share. They are two halves that make up the perfect Survivor player. Ricard is the gamer, and Shan's the emotional yet charismatic warrior. Ultimately, Shan wants all the power to herself, but Ricard doesn't want to give her back the extra vote. Comment down below whose side you're on, because I'm so conflicted on who's in the right here. At the end of the day, I'm leaning a little closer to Ricard. Number 19. It has become apparent that things will never be the same with Ricard and Shan, because the very next morning they were still bickering about the extra vote. This alliance is so fascinating to watch, as they obviously don't trust each other, but at the same time they really want to work together. Think of these two as the more paranoid version of Denise and Malcolm back from Survivor Philippines.
Great, we can figure out a way to use it to our advantage. If we're split, Malcolm's got the idol in his possession and I'm on my own.
Number 18. We are now only 5 minutes into the episode, and I would argue the best moments have already passed. We are now at the Yasay Camp as Evie reads out the tree mail. Obviously, this is a filler episode of Survivor when we have enough time to read the tree mail. Afterwards, Liana reassures us that although it looks like the Yasay 4 are going to be strong together, she would prefer if all the girls stick together and cut out Xander. Number 17. With hanging out on a beach for 12 days and not really having the chance to play Survivor yet, it looks like all 6 members on the Luvu tribe are itching at the chance to backstab each other. And we get a little bit of foreshadowing as they read the tree mail, as Erika says she does not trust good old Jeff Probst. You're right, Erika, a twist is coming and it's not fair at all. Number 16. Drop the 4, leave the 1, and break the 4th wall, as just before our players enter the challenge, we see Jeff explain to us, the viewer, another big twist is coming. I could be wrong, but if the twist is so confusing that we need it to be explained multiple times, then I think they're taking things a little too far. So you better be paying attention. We discover it is a 2-part episode, but they are only showing the first part tonight, and we're not even going to be going to tribal council. Number 15. Drop your buffs, we are merged. Kinda, but not really. Some of you are merged, some of you aren't. Some of you are going to Exile Island, and we're all just left confused. This is where we randomly draw rocks to split the remaining 12 players into 2 tribes, and the winning tribe gets the merge feast, the sexy red merge buff, doesn't have to participate in the first immunity challenge, and will be safe at tribal council. But everyone's still going to tribal council to vote. However, there's going to be 2 people that don't get to participate in the challenge, and all the info we're given at this point is that their fate will be determined by the winning tribe. Whew, breathe. If you just left it at this, it would be a fun little twist to kick off the second half of the season, but it's everything else that follows that makes it turn into a complete joke. Ultimately, Naseer and Erika would be sitting out of the challenge.
Erika in the middle, and we have 2 teams of 5.
Number 14. The challenge itself was a masterpiece, as it was an entertaining competition from start to finish, with seeing the domination from the blue tribe, but also, and more importantly, the amount of heart and determination shown from the yellow tribe. I feel like I'm beginning to sound like a broken record, but Xander really can't catch a break this entire season of Survivor. And when the challenge was finishing up, I really thought yellow had it, and this would have been one of the biggest comebacks in Survivor history, but sadly they were too little, too late. Number 13. After the newly formed blue tribe, consisting of Ricard, Ricard, Sydney, Evie, Deshawn, and Danny win the challenge, they are told to select either Naseer or Erika to join them and be safe from tribal council and enjoy the merge feast. However, the player they don't select will need to spend 2 full nights alone at Exile Island. I don't think this is being talked about enough in the community, but 2 full nights during a 26-day season feels way too extreme. Ultimately, Naseer is selected and joins the tribe of winners. Number 12. Erika and Jeffrey have a one-on-one discussion after the tribes have gone their separate ways. Little key piece of information for what is coming up at the end of the video, but Erika is fully aware at this point that she is on the bottom of her tribe and fears she may be going home. Pretty much from this point forward, this entire episode of Survivor becomes the Erika from Canada show.
I never expected to join the feast.
Well, Erika, there is no denying it. Your game just took a dramatic turn.
Number 11. The winning tribe plus Naseer head to the merge feast as they make sure to emphasize that this is the hardest season of all time, and this is the first real meal they've received in 12 days. Well, it takes all of 2 seconds to get a good laugh by scrolling through Survivor Twitter and seeing all the past players complain and be pissed off about how easy these people have it in season 41. Number 10. We have heard it before, but with each passing episode, Danny gets more terrified of all the women coming together with an all-girls alliance. Evie assures him, don't worry about it, but if you flash back to the preseason press, then you might think Danny should be worried about this. Number 9. Is it Exile Island, is it Island of the Idols, or is it the Edge of Extinction? The correct answer is all of the above, because we're in Fiji and we're never gonna leave. Other than the time we had Erika throwing Sydney under the bus, this is truly the first time we've gotten to know Erika all season long. When a twist this big is introduced into Survivor, I think it would have really helped if we knew more about Erika going into this episode and cared about her on a personal level. This really hurts me to say, but I think the main reason Erika hasn't received much screen time comes down to the fact that she's not that good at giving confessionals. For now, I am just gonna blame it on her being in shock that she is alone on Exile, but Survivor needs good storytellers, and if you're not good at giving confessionals, you're not gonna get much screen time.
But I know that, that everything they did,
Number 8. The losing tribe, consisting of Shan, Heather, Xander, Tiffany, and Liana, are in rough shape after the draining loss they just had during the challenge. And as Xander points out, they're in a mergatory. I feel bad for this entire tribe, but specifically Xander, as he was placed in a really tough spot for being the only guy on his tribe.
Here comes Heather. She's gonna need a hand.
come on, you ready?
Number 7. Same thing, different episode, as once again Shan is playing too hard and accidentally spills the beans about Liana's advantage. I think it would make the most sense to stay Ua and Yasay strong and steal the idol from Naseer, but it looks like the beginning of the end of the Yasay tribe, as Tiffany says she doesn't know if she can fully trust Liana anymore. Number 6. All the remaining castaways, excluding Erika, finally come together. In a classic Survivor merge fashion, it is pure chaos, as everyone puts on their biggest smile, but we all know the eventual storm is gonna arrive soon. Although I'm not the biggest fan of how everyone knows about who has what idol, I think it's really fun and creates an interesting bond that Xander and Naseer now both share together. Number 5. We said it earlier in this video, and we also said it the past couple of videos, but it's pretty obvious that Luvu is gonna turn on each other very quickly in this game. Everyone is throwing out the easy vote idea, and in this case, that obviously is gonna be Erika. It comes down to the Luvu tribe not being experienced Survivor players yet. Number 4. With this being the most diverse cast in Survivor history, it is super cool to see the formation of the Persons of Color Alliance. I think if done correctly, this will be super successful for them, as they'll be able to manipulate the votes from both alliances and then take control of the game once they have the numbers. And at the end of the day, this will result in more people watching Survivor, as Lauren Ashley Beck said it perfectly on RHAP.
Why do you want to play Survivor? And I said, because my mother told me black people don't play that shit. And I want to prove that we do.
Number 3. Such a small and meaningless moment, but the Repulsed puzzle this week was 10 out of 10. Let's slow it down so everyone can get a closer look, and the answer was, can I have your jacket?
Natalie, is there any way I could have your jacket? Natalie?
Number 2. Although we are dropping the Tribal Council this episode, we needed more Jeff on our screen, and so the obvious substitute was the therapy session with Erika, as we see Jeff slowly pulling up to Exile Island in his fancy yacht. Number 1. Deep breaths, here we go. Jeff introduces us to the hourglass twist as Erika is awarded the most powerful advantage in Survivor history. All the black sand represents what has already taken place so far this season, but Erika has the option to reverse the curse, either being boring and keep the game as it is, or be a game changer and make a historic move and reverse the outcome in the challenge. The result of this would be everyone that won the challenge fair and square would now be at risk of being voted out, and all the members that lost will now be safe, including Erika. There is no cliffhanger, as it makes the most sense for Erika to keep herself safe. So then, as a result, either Ricard, Danny, Deshawn, Naseer, Sydney, or Evie just got completely screwed, possibly the most screwed in Survivor history. And it's even the wording by Jeff as he explains it to Erika being super obvious what he wants her to choose: make a boring move or be a game changer. Why does Erika get all this power? Why are we breaking an hourglass? Why aren't we rolling a dice? Why didn't we go to tribal council? Drop the 4 and leave the 1 because this is Survivor season 41. Although I don't agree with all of Jeff's moments this episode, click right here to see all of Jeff Probst's best Survivor moments.